forgot where we left off.
Well, we were somewhere around talking about me basically bashing country radio, I think, so I don't remember where we were.
No, I can't do it wherever. Hello, welcome to the show. This is East Tennessee Music Scene on the Rise. I'm Scott Thomas. I'm here with Michael Roberts. I want to call you Ryan Roberts for some reason. Michael Roberts. We're going to talk a little bit about his musical journey and what he's been up to in the past several years of his life throughout his musical. Let's do that again. All right. So this is East Tennessee Music Scene on the Rise. I'm Scott Thomas. I'm here with Michael Roberts. We're going to be talking with him a little bit about music and what he's been doing since he started. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, like when you started music, what your first instrument was when you started?
When I was about 14, I got a guitar for Christmas and learned how to play it, and wasn't that great at first, and tried to sing, and you know, I could, but not that great. So I put it up for a few years for the most part until just about 4 or 5 years ago, and then one day I decided to try to give this music thing another run. And basically I told myself, I said, you know, I don't want to be an old man and sit around and go, I wish I'd tried this, or I wish I'd tried to do something with this, because I love music and I always wanted to be a musician.
Yeah.
So that's basically how I got started in it. And the open chord here where we're at was actually a big part of that. About 4 years ago, I guess, they used to, well, they still do, an open mic. I came down here for an open mic, and actually that bathroom that's sitting just a little bit to our left got really sick in there before I went up on stage for the first time. I was so nervous, but after that, that never happened again, and I never had any problem with that, with being nervous.
Just an initial stage fright, and then
Yeah.
it was all gone after you were up on stage the first time?
Yeah, I just took the one time, and so that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, I have a hard time standing up on stage or even being in front of the camera like this, but you just kind of have to push your way through, right? And
Oh, yeah.
especially
Yeah.
when you're up on stage playing music. I mean, you play it how you feel it, so you just... I've never been a musician myself. I've always wanted to play guitar. And like you said, you start out not being very, very good, and you just work on it and keep going and all that stuff. But I've never been able to move my fingers like you should be able to after so long of trying to play.
Well, I mean, you know, it's never too late to start, but I'm not the world's greatest guitarist either. I just play mostly chords and sing, and but...
Well, that in itself is difficult to do. Singing it and playing at the same time is one of the hardest things that I know of that musicians do.
Oh, yeah.
Either you are a vocalist or you're a guitarist, but very few are vocal and guitar.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's something you have to learn, and I'm still learning. You know, it takes time. And the funny thing is sometimes too is, even talking about crowds, you know, to me it's odd. If I'm in front of 2 or 3 people playing, it makes me really nervous even to today. But if there's a couple hundred, for some reason, it's like something clicks, and it feels more right, in a way to say.
Yeah. Well, when you have 2 or 3 people in front of you, all their eyes are trained on you, and you can pretty much feel them.
Yeah, and you can see every reaction.
Yeah.
If they like it or they don't like it. If you get a bunch of people out in the crowd, you know, you're looking over top of them, or, you know.
Yeah.
If you look over to the left and you see they got an expression like they don't like what you're doing, well, you might be able to look over here and somebody else is enjoying it. So
Yeah.
that makes it better.
It's always good.
Yeah.
So what are some of your influence in your music and your style of play?
Well, I mean, that runs the gamut, because I grew up listening to, and I'm a country artist. I listen to a lot of country, but then a lot of even like oldies rock and roll, 70s and 80s rock, I mean, and just everything else, really.
When you say country, would you classify yourself as the old style country or the new style country?
Well, that depends on how you look at it.
I don't know about new style country these days. It's molded itself into something not so much country.
Oh yeah. Well, to me, it depends on if we're talking about necessarily radio country or country in general. Because one thing a lot of people I don't think realize is there's a lot of amazing acts, a lot of huge acts that are not even played on mainstream country radio right now because the format has gone. It's more pop radio than it really is country per se, and I just really think that type of music. I know why it got big. I just don't see why it's sustained as long as it has because I hardly know anybody that really enjoys that.
Yeah. So you're more like a Garth Brooks kind of.
Yeah.
Or, back in the day when I used to listen to country a lot more than now, John Michael Montgomery, Vince Gill.
Oh yeah.
Joe Diffie, things
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, those are some amazing artists back when I was growing up in the 90s. A lot of just amazing talent on the radio that was mainstream. And now, to be honest with you, if I turn on a mainstream country radio station around here, for the most part, with a few exceptions, like Chris Stapleton, he's done amazing things, I think, with country. But a lot of the artists, I couldn't really tell you if I was listening to a country station or if I was listening to a top 40 station, or really what it is. And I think country music has an identity crisis, to be honest with you. They don't know who they want to be.
Yeah. I know a lot of artists specifically in this area that are more old style country.
Oh yeah.
Like several months ago we did the interviews with Parker Presley. He's definitely an old style country driven person. And your sound, would you classify yourself as kind of the old style country?
Yeah, I mean I'll just call it country, but it's leans more towards the older style of country music than the newer one now. I don't know if I would really say it's traditional. It's more like if you mix a little rock in with a little bit of country, a little bit of everything, you know. But it's definitely not the newer type of what you're hearing on the radio for the most part.
There's nothing wrong with putting a little bit of rock with the country sound.
Right.
Kind of the combination of two different genres is sort of good to hear.
Yeah.
But you don't want to go too far off the rails whenever you're a country artist. You want to stay in the country genre. You want to put out your music in that way.
Yeah. Well, in my opinion, you don't want to change who you are just to sell records, satisfy people. I mean, there's some that has to be done, but you don't want to just say, well, this is what people are listening to today. I'm going to sound a little more like this, a little more like this. And you're going to mix, like I said, a little rock or something into it sometimes just because it is going to evolve somewhat. But in my opinion, country has just evolved. It's way off the rails. It's just, don't know what it's doing anymore for the most part.
But the way you're playing it is the way you like it. So
oh, yeah.
You have to like the way you're playing.
Yeah.
Whatever genre you're in, whether you're a completely heavy metal, I never like to say it this way, but it's kind of like screaming and wailing and dirty vocals, or you're the countryside, lighter, and just playing how you feel.
Yeah.
Everybody plays how they feel.
Exactly.
In whatever way they need to portray it. But some things about your music would be, how would you classify yourself or the way you play to the people out there who want to find you?
I would say if you want to hear some real songs about stuff people actually care about, that actually sounds good, or it does in my opinion, that's what I do. I don't sing about tractors and about my lifted truck. My truck's not lifted. But it'd be cool if it was, but I still wouldn't sing about it. But about real stuff that people might care about, that they could actually relate to. Because a lot of stuff I listen to on the country radio right now, they do it because it sounds good.
Yeah.
And that's it. There's no, like even look at like stuff Johnny Cash did, like Folsom Prison, Sunday Morning Coming Down. There's actually Chris Christopherson, but Johnny Cash covered it. But stuff like that, where to this day, like years and years later, people can still relate to those songs. It's not just because it has a good melody or it has a good sound, but because they can relate to that.
Yeah.
And I think that as being a musician, as being an artist, I think that's as important as selling records or whatever you're going to do, because you're kind of leaving a legacy, you know, no matter how big or how small it is. When your time comes, or whenever you're just done with music or whatever, somebody's going to remember what you did, and if you did it well, they're going to remember it for a long time.
So, where would people go to find some of your music, or all of your music?
Well, you can check out Facebook, Michael Roberts Music. I post all sorts of stuff on there, and my latest EP called Take a Leechie's on iTunes. It's on Amazon. iHeartRadio, play 30 other music vendors. It's out there, released in January. So if people want to check that out, that'd be great. If you order on Spotify too, I always tell people, since I don't want you to buy something you don't like, because I'm not everybody's cup of tea. So you can go to Spotify or YouTube, you can listen to the whole EP. If you like it, go and buy it. I'd love for you to buy it. But I don't want somebody to buy my album and go, man, I just wasted, I think it's like $6 or $7, whatever 5 songs cost on iTunes. And go, man, I wish I hadn't bought that. I wasted my money. I don't like this guy. Well, that's cool. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. So go to Spotify, give it a listen. If you like it, buy it. I'd love for you to. But that's my thing is I'm not in it just for try to get people's money. You know, I want them to really enjoy what I'm doing if they're going to buy it.
That's a good thing. I mean, people should be able to love the music that they have. Back in the day, when you bought a CD, there might be 1 or 2 songs on that you liked, and then the rest of them, out of 15 or 16 songs, you may be like, why did I buy this? But you wanted those 2 songs, so you had to buy the CD. Back then, you didn't have the online stuff where you could check it out and see what you liked and buy specific songs that you liked instead of the entire CD.
Oh yeah.
But nowadays, you have multiple ways you can buy CDs or buy songs or whatever. So we encourage everybody to go out and look for his music, buy it.
If you want to have pity on me, you can buy it if you don't like it. But,
oh, no.
Yeah.
No pities. We can't have pity. We got to buy his stuff. I'm sure you'll love it. We'll have to go out and check it out ourselves. We'll have some of the music hopefully placed into the video somewhere. If you can get us a track.
I sure will.
We'll put a little sample on this so people can listen to it while they're watching you talk and getting to know you, and then they'll be enticed to go out and look for you more.
Didn't have a bad childhood, had a pretty good life. Grew up and found me a beautiful wife. Had a job, paid good money before I found the biz. Had a sweet little house, 2 cars, 2 kids. Got some help from the habit, never thought I'd try Crystal thing. It made me feel fearless, but I was scared. Took a sawed-off shotgun